I'm in front of the Gamble House, an important marvel of the 20th century. It was designed for the Gamble family to fit their lifestyle needs. Each room and the layout of each room was intentionally designed to fit their purposes. With the Gambles wanting a house that fit their personal needs, they hired Green and Green Architects, acclaimed architects in Southern California. These architects specialized in the architectural design called arts and crafts, which was a huge movement booming in the 20th century. However, this movement slowly started to die out at the end of their time here in Southern California, but it didn't stop them from producing great wonders such as the Gamble House. Another thing that the Green and Green Architects brought to this building was their influence in Japanese architecture. They saw an exhibition back in the late 1800s, and it sparked a new inspiration and new ideas for them to implement into their designs. Some things that you might notice in the Gamble House are things known as cloud lift patterns and subi patterns, which are traditional Japanese styles and just traditional Japanese motifs that are seen reflected throughout the entirety of this building. The context of Southern California and Pasadena as a whole heavily influenced this building, with the residents neighboring it. And even down the street is Charles Green's own personal home. The whole reason why the Gamble House wanted this house to be commissioned in the first place was because they noticed the immense presence that Green and Green had in Southern California, specifically in Pasadena. Their style and uniqueness that they brought to these neighborhoods is what drew them to want to build their own personal home here in California in the first place. Another way that the Gamble House associates with its context is its use of materials, color, and association with nature. The site seems to want to grab a hold of the building itself and become one with it. There's colors associated with the shingles that match the surrounding landscape. There's vines that overgrow into the building, and the use of natural woods and brick and stone help to assimilate it with its overall ground and context. When the house was originally built, there was a large eucalyptus tree that was planted and sprung up into the roof. To accommodate for that, Green and Green Architects notched out holes in the roof to further assimilate the house with nature. Green and Green also designed the building to accommodate the fluctuating temperatures of Southern California's weather. The layout of the house as a whole was ultimately designed to be a comfortable vacation home before the days of AC, so the architects had to design the building in a way that self-regulated its temperature, hence why many windows, doors, and large porches are seen throughout the building. Sleeping porches were designed and built on the exterior to allow for the residents to sleep outdoors in good weather. One prominent theme in the design of the Gamble House is its horizontal orientation. Though the building is stacked vertically, the horizontal lines created by the beams, boards, and spaces within support this horizontal orientation. A strong example of this concept is the entryway. Here, the wide and low front door introduces us to this horizontal theme. The intricate panels that frame both sides emphasize its horizontal nature and make it more effective. The second concept that is highlighted by the Gamble House is in its partie. The geometries of the house are mostly rectangular and square forms, and a notable example of this technique is easily seen in the living room. The architectural promenade of the building is determined by an axis that connects the entrance to the backyard. This axis determines the circulation of the building and how the visitor navigates and travels throughout the spaces. Everything branches off from this center axis. The concept of figure ground also plays a role in determining how these spaces are organized, with the served and service spaces being described in an almost figure ground relationship. Servant spaces being the figure and the served spaces being the ground. Lastly, the use of tectonics helped to create patterns on the building with the shingles, and these patterns are emphasized and repeated throughout the entirety of the building.